Hey folks, we're back again. This is Clarence Presley. To my right is Deshaun Presley. To my left is Charles Burnham. We're coming right back at you with Premier U Sports, giving you our conference championship roundup for Northwest Premier. Boy, oh boy, fellas, it's been a heck of a weekend.
Most definitely.
Yes, sir.
Definitely has.
Yes,
Definitely
sir.
has. We had a pretty solid weekend, man. We had a couple of, I'll say, probably surprises to a few folks, but the games were definitely intense, man. They were
Yeah.
definitely intense.
Saturday, unfortunately, I missed Sunday. I heard there was just as much intensity, but
Yeah.
Saturday, great games, all day Saturday.
Mhm.
I don't know. Battles sort of played out the way I think we thought they'd play out,
Right.
but with the exception of that senior game,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was going to be a different look than what we saw earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Well, guys, before we dive into this, I'm just going to use one word that Charles started the season out with.
Mm-hmm.
He threw out the word parity.
Yep.
Now I think we have some
Got it.
parity.
Yeah.
I think this past weekend revealed the parity.
Mm-hmm.
There was, as much as people had their favorites coming in, if it was Vegas, well, I hope you guys ain't betting on the kids. But if it was Vegas, you had some folks who had some serious odds out there.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man, it made for a heck of a weekend of competitive youth football. So we're going to start off with you guys talking about Saturday, which was the Green Conference Championship. We start off with the freshman game. In the freshman game, you had Puget Sound Lancers defeating Beacon Hill Cowboys. Let's talk about that game.
Man, no, that Puget Sound team is something else. A kid's name that I just kept mentioning that whole ball game was Marquise Huggins, which they call him Doo-Wop.
Doo-Wop.
Hey man, this young man comes downhill like Sean Taylor. I mean, he plays
he's number
safety,
nine,
number
right?
9. He
Yes.
plays safety, and I
Dude,
mean,
he had a nice game, touchdown saving tackle.
I mean, on both sides of the ball,
Yeah.
the kid is bananas, man. But just the couple of hits that he had in that game was something that you would be used to seeing on like a junior level. I mean, he just lays the wood. And then on the offensive side of the ball, he was just able to get loose whenever he touched it. You know what I mean? There was really no way of containing him. It was two solid teams, but that Puget Sound team is tough, man. They got a lot of good kids. That can scat on that team. I believe another kid on that team as well. His name is Ches Carson, I believe.
Yeah.
And another just quick kid, man. They just that backfield is dynamic, man. So it was a great game. But like I said, those kids are just they're second to none, man. They're definitely deserve to be mentioned. So.
I'm looking forward to that matchup with them and the Ravens. Matt's freshman, because I think again you're going to see speed and speed. Same thing we saw with the Ravens and CD on Sunday.
Right.
You're going to get another matchup of that, and who can execute the best, who's going to make the minimal amount of mistakes. Again, and that's who's going to end up being probably the winner in that game. Is less penalties, less turnovers, and big plays.
Beacon Hill had a kid too on their side, man. That was a bit of a bruiser running the ball. I believe
Ulugalu.
Zion, I believe is his name.
Zion.
And he was dragging some defenders with him, man. He's a big kid.
He's a road
man.
grader, yeah.
So just seeing the future in the league, man, we got a lot of great athletes, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that are going to be moving up the next year or the following, that it's just going to keep getting better and better each year.
We just got to keep developing them, man. We got to help them get better.
We got something we're rolling out for that too.
Yeah.
So guys, let's go ahead and transition to our sophomore game in the Green Conference. We had 5-star with the upset. As far as some people's thoughts,
Right.
5-star with the upset over Puget Sound Lancers, the Savage Squad. Let's talk about that game.
Man, in the beginning, it shocked me. I mean, I'm used to seeing Puget Sound and Coach Reggie's boys coming out with his swagger. You know what I mean? When he comes out, he's full of energy. You know what I mean? He makes sure that his guys are ready to go. You know what I mean? They're looking at the field. They're ready to hit the field and do it like none other. You know what I mean? And they came out in this game, and I think even Reggie said this. I think I might have seen him say this, that they came out flat for some reason in that first half. And 5-star was able to capitalize on that.
But I'll tell you this. Five Star, one of the things that I saw with them, I got a chance to talk to my guy Keandre McGee, who has a son on that team, and he's down with Old Day. I said, Keandre, did you share with them Old Day style of football? Because Five Star looked like a ground and pound machine. I'd never seen them clicking like that before. But that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
This is the time where things begin to gel and you begin to click on all cylinders.
Schemes come to the surface. You can't just live on talent. But like I always said last week, I thought these were two very similar style teams. You know, Five Stars got the big Nonu boy in the back, and they grind it. Lancers had Valmau in the back, and they grinded, they pounded, then they hit you on the edge. Same thing. Five Star did the same thing with Lil Willie Manning. They hit you on the edge, but they was always pounding Nonu, and it was just one team was just able to be more successful and execute better. But I thought those were two very similar style teams, and it was just who was going to come out on top on that.
And I'll say this. The Nonu boys on Five Star were able to run with so much passion that it was like they were running through brick walls. Like it was, I hadn't seen them, honestly, all year. I hadn't seen them run the way they ran in that ball game. I mean, I've seen them, their physical size, and them being able to impose themselves on different teams out throughout this year. But the way they ran in that ball game was, I mean, it was Marshawn Lynch-esque.
Yeah, it was,
you know what I mean?
Beast mode,
you know, and I want to give a shout out also to that quarterback.
Yes,
Five Star.
Yeah.
He surprised me.
Man.
I never knew that kid could throw the way that he did.
Run.
Yeah,
I think Coach D, hats off to him for taking the chains off of him a little bit, letting him do a little bit more. Because like I said, like you're saying, you didn't see that from him earlier in the year. We definitely didn't see that the first week in the season against Auburn.
Right.
And I think that he's built his confidence. They built his confidence, and you saw that show up on Saturday.
Well, that's a good segue, guys. Before we get to the juniors, I think that Five Star Auburn game, I think they are similar. They mirror each other, you know. And I didn't know that about Five Star until this last week, but that should be a good matchup. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's move over into the junior division, or the junior division in the Green Conference. We have Five Star beat Puget Sound Lancers, so the number one team came out on top over the number two in last week. What? Any thoughts on that game?
I think just Five Star came out and executed their plan on what they wanted to do. That was to run the football, you know what I mean, and set up that play action and try and get the pass out there. They did well on the defensive side of the ball. There wasn't many yards gained. I won't say they did. They contained Marquand McCraney as best as they could. And that pretty much that silenced them on that side of the ball. Puget Sound did come out with a great game plan to try and limit Five Stars their running ability, but you know, like we all know, Jason Brown is very elusive at times, and he can run. Yeah, he can run through your tackles or he can run around you. And so it came down to the situation of who was executing their plan. And man, Five Star came out and did exactly what they wanted to do, and I believe it was a 20-6 ball game. So I mean, it wasn't, you know,
it was a more competitive game than
the
regular season.
Right, it was in a regular season game.
So hats off to both sides.
Yeah,
on that one, 'cause it was definitely a much closer game.
It
than
was.
I think people expected.
Yeah,
They're just good games all the way around.
They were.
And now closing out in our senior division in the Green Conference, we had the Lancers beat Beacon Hill Cowboys. And there's one thing I got to do. I got to give a shout out real quick to little Jerry Petty.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my God, the
Definitely.
smallest guy on the field,
Right.
leading the team at quarterback.
Right.
You know, and I take my hat off to Marcus McCraney. Little Jerry got injured, you know, at the end, and Marcus came and shook it up with him and encouraged him. You know what I'm saying? The smallest guy out there with the biggest heart, man. That was a great sense of just strength in him, just to go out there, man, and face those giants. You know what I'm saying? But as we know, Puget Sound Lancers, they rolled away with that game. But for the first time, they got scored on.
Right.
It was the last couple of minutes in the fourth quarter. Talked to Coach Arrington, Coach Curtis, and he actually said it's a good thing, which I think I agree with. If you don't get scored on and then you end up getting scored on, it can mess with you psychologically. So it was actually a good experience for them. But give me you guys' thoughts on that game.
Man, like we've said before, man, that Lancers team is just a juggernaut. You know what I mean? Honestly, you don't see any weakness. You know what I mean? There's not very many holes, if any holes, you know, on both sides of the football. Their linebackers fly around to the ball. You know what I mean? They're savvy, they're smart. You know what I mean? They flow to the ball. So, you know, even on the offensive side, their linemen, they fulfill their assignment. You know what I mean? They block to the second level. Marcus runs with, like we said before, to me, he's the strongest runner I've seen in the state. So if you're arm tackling, you can give it up. It's touchdown. You know what I mean? And then they have dynamic receivers that'll go grab the ball
with various backs.
Yeah,
you got DJ. You got Arian. I mean, you got some kids. They got athletes, man.
Right.
And I think you're going to see that come out. I think it's going to be a great test for them to play the Raven team, both undefeated in league play. Yeah. And that's the game, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I won't jump into that too much. But I know both coaches are licking their chops. So I will say this. I want to give a shout out. The Lancers team is well coached.
Yeah, they are.
And, you know, we got to take our hats off to them. They've been coaching these boys up, you know, getting them ready. And they got a great opportunity ahead of them.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Well, let's go ahead and shift over, you guys, to the Green Conference, or Gray Conference, excuse me, which happened on Sunday. This was a day that went long.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, my goodness, it was a long day. It went way over. But, you know, the games were filled with excitements, and the stands were rocking.
Yeah, they were.
We just want to ask y'all, though, let's turn it down some. Not the intensity level of cheering, but let's turn down the complaining and pointing fingers at other fans because we don't want that tension in our league. We don't. That's not what we're about. We're about the kids. We're about the community. So we're just asking that folks turn that down. You know, I understand when you don't appreciate calls. You know, we get that. That's going to happen on any game. You know, high school, college, NFL, even. You know, but let's turn that level down where people are getting frustrated with other adults over what kids are doing on the field. It's about celebrating them, win or lose. You know, and the one thing that I shared with some folks the other day, we got to learn how to win gracefully and lose gracefully. You know, we don't win them all. You know what I'm saying? But every team that's made it this far, you know, you got to take your hats off to them because that means that they are serious business. So I do want to give a special shout out to Coach Sean, Thomas, because he's one of those guys that demonstrates he can win and he can lose gracefully, and he don't make excuses about it.
He exemplifies what we want from all of our coaches,
and he keeps it pushing. So special shout out to him. Let's start
shout
off.
Shout out to the kids too.
Yes,
because I'm on that field at every game that when I'm there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there all day Sunday, but I haven't heard. I've seen some heartbroken kids, heartbroken. You know they're passionate, but I haven't heard these kids complaining at all. I mean, I honestly have not. I did all day Auburn. I've been at Renton Memorial. I haven't heard these kids complaining. Honestly, I haven't. I mean, maybe you guys have, but I haven't gotten complaints from the kids saying, "Hey, you know, complain about this, complain about that. Hey, this wasn't right. This wasn't fair." These guys have just came up, left their hearts on the field, and balled out for us.
Yeah,
and I appreciate every one of them.
Yeah,
every one of them.
Yeah. So let's talk about these games. We started off the morning on Sunday morning with a key matchup of two teams that tied in the regular season. So we knew this was going to be an intense battle. And we saw the Rainier Ravens freshmen actually come out with the victory over CD in a very hard-fought game, 12-0. It wasn't a blowout. It was just hard, cold football day. It was cold out there, man, but those kids played, man, and they put their hearts out there on the field. I want to give a huge shout out to both coaching staff, and head coach, Coach Matt on the victory, Coach Terrell, you know, for coaching them kids up. It was a great day of football. You guys got any thoughts about that game?
Man, from the outset, which I already anticipated, it was going to be a battle. They went back and forth on stopping each other. You know what I mean? I believe the first touchdown was, I think, from the 10-yard line. I think, honestly, it was because of the field advantage, you know, flipping the field, and they just had the better advantage on that side of the field. Number 34, I believe his name is, Javion Frost, scored their first touchdown. And so, like I said, it was a battle. I believe it was 6-0. They didn't score again until the second half.
Fourth quarter,
which was a run by Michael Wayman. You know what I mean? But it was not honestly, it wasn't a beautiful offensive game. You know what I mean?
It was
a defensive battle. They weren't just running all over each other. You know,
but that was a heck of a run by Michael Wayman. 51-yard.
Don't get me wrong.
I mean, that was a heck of a run, bro.
And the reason why I say that, in the first half, it was smack,
Yeah,
smack,
yeah,
smack,
yeah.
smack. You know what I
It
mean?
was.
Back and forth. When it came to that run, it was an amazing run where he was on that sideline, to be honest, by himself. There was no blockers in front of him. He made a couple moves on kids that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't never seen Mike make moves like that before. So it was like he was pumped up for the game. Like, I'm gonna go out here and give my all. And broke, I think you said, was a 51 yarder
51 yarder.
that he broke. You know what I mean? Was beautiful. So hats off to both. To both squads. They both had a tremendous season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming into this game, and the only loss. Well, it wasn't even a loss. They both just had a tie on their record. You know what I mean? So I can't say anything but good things about both of them. It just so happens that Rainier came out on top, and also another back that they have, Jay Sean. Jay Sean is another back, man. That he gets out in space. It's good night. He didn't actually get an opportunity to score, but he made some dynamic runs. Yeah. So that matchup, man, is gonna be something else, man.
It's gonna be a good one,
Definitely.
man. Then we have in the sophomore division of the great conference, we had Auburn, who I've been telling you guys is a tough squad all year, man.
They are.
The Auburn, the Panther Bowl 2.0.
2.0. Right.
Auburn came out strong against undefeated, nationally ranked CD Panthers.
Yeah.
I believe they were the number 3 team in the nation. And Auburn came out, man, and it came down to execution.
Right.
You said it earlier, Chuck. It was schemes. They had a strategy. You can tell the coach knew exactly what he wanted to do. Coming into the game, the defense came out and held strong. There was some injury on CD in the beginning. Raylan Witherspoon got injured early. He made a heck of a play defensively and offensively. And it possibly changed the dynamics of the game. We don't know. I'm not going to say that it totally did, but it possibly changed it. But I know that Auburn, man, is well balanced. They got speed, they got power, they got lines, and they're well coached. Coach T, hey man, you did a great job. And he's a humble guy, man.
He is.
He don't do a whole lot of talking. He gets his kids prepared. They're mentally prepared, and they came out.
Right.
And again, like we said, hats off to Coach Sean, and his staff. They came out ready to play. Some days you just don't get them. And this was a day that they didn't win it out there in the trenches, and Auburn came away with the victory. What's your thoughts?
I think the elements played into somewhat of Auburn's favor too. And the reason why I can say that is because I was actually on the sideline, and a lot of those kids were cold, man.
It was cold.
I'm talking
it was
about
windy too.
Yeah, they were shaking. You know what I mean? And so I'm not taking anything away from Auburn's game plan. I think they executed that to the utmost. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. But I think running that football, number 7, I believe his name is Elijah. He's bigger than what I thought he was when I was on the side. I thought he was a smaller guy, with a lot of speed. And he was able to run through some of those defenders, and with much power. You know what I mean? Fall forward. It wasn't a collision where he's falling backwards at all. So
I think he he comfortably shifts between both personalities.
Right.
Because when I saw him the first season, first game season, in his 5-star, he was straight up blasting cats.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to dance and all that.
Right.
He was just trying to run through people.
It's him, and I believe the other kid's name is Christian, which I believe is number 1. I can't remember his last name right now, but both of them, they're both dynamic runners.
They're solid. They're consistent.
And their quarterback is very consistent. He manages that team very well on the field. And that was something that I seen in him that going forward, that he's definitely a quarterback who has an IQ on what he's supposed to do at that time. So
then you got Greg Valdez too. Number 6. So that whole team came out strong,
they did.
Man,
They
and
did.
it was a team effort.
They did.
With some key players doing what I believe their coaches instilled in them, what they believe that they can do.
Right.
And they came out, and remember that first game against CD came down to a 1-point game.
Faster track this time, though.
I did not expect them to come out here and get dominated. I knew that it was going to be a matchup. So a huge shout out to Auburn on the victory. And let's shift over to the junior division. Another marquee matchup. We had C-Tech Sharks, a rematch from just a week ago, a couple weeks ago. C-Tech Sharks against CD Panthers. Talk about that game.
Man, I mean, for me, there's just one play that I have to mention that just sticks out in my mind, man. It was a run by Reggie Witherspoon.
Oh my God, man!
This was one of the coldest runs I've seen.
High school, college.
I mean, it was. I put it like this: he made two kids run into each other.
He made a lot of
My
kids
victim?
run.
It was bananas, and there was a penalty on the play.
No.
You know, it was taken away, but it was something that definitely needs to be on his highlight reel. His speed, the way he changes gears and shifts. I mean, he's beyond his years in the way
His
of how he
footwork.
runs the football. It was bananas, you know. But I mean, it was a great game, but you can never take anything away from Papa. He had a great game once again, and like we've said before, what always impresses us is the fact that with his size, the breakaway speed that he has after he gets through your second level, he gets away from your linebackers.
He
and
did
your
that again
corner.
this week?
He did
Hey,
it again
man.
this week.
That kid got breakaway speed that
Yeah.
you're like, how is he doing that
Right.
with his size?
Right,
They over there, I'm standing on the sideline watching him do it the week before.
right.
And everybody's like, he's going to be a lineman when he gets. I'm like, you don't know that
Hey,
because he just
man.
ran past 4 DBs.
Look, he is a special athlete. To have that size and speed at the age that he does is just it's something else to watch, man.
Yeah.
Just to be able to view, you know what I mean. And then you got to think about even on the defensive side of the ball. SeaTac played very well. You know, they played very well. They contained their gaps. You know what I mean. They did exactly what their game plan was. And it made things a little difficult for CD.
Did CD,
You know what I mean?
now that they were on a faster track, though, you know, I remember a couple of weeks ago we
Yeah.
had that game and it was muddy, sloppy,
Right.
rough track. Did they try to spread
No, they
SeaTac
did,
out?
and they did well. I believe starting at quarterback was Sajay. I believe that started at quarterback, and he was able to even make some dynamic moves on the field and be able to get in space. They fared a lot better on turf than they did in the mud.
Yeah.
Well,
Of
it
course.
was-
yeah. And we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a rough track they played on a few weeks ago.
First half, the game was anybody's game.
Yeah, it was.
Actually, up to the third quarter.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
truthfully, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to say it would have shifted the game one way or another. But that play that he talked about with Reggie scoring that touchdown, there was a penalty that was thrown of a hold on the opposite side of the field that brought the play back. Then they came back. CD came out again, and I want to say Alexander. What's his first name? He's Derek. He's a beast too. He breaks.
Yeah.
Flag again. Play comes back. Then Sajay breaks and gets big yard. Play comes all the way back. That shifted, I think, some of the momentum for them. I'm not saying it would have changed the game because SeaTac in the second half pulled away, but you never know.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The game
Momentum
yeah, you know how football
Yeah.
is, man.
It's all momentum.
It's all momentum. And they were tit for tat, man, in that first half. You know, SeaTac with their power, they're coming down. Then you had CD coming back with their speed. But at the end of the day, man, in the second half, you know, the coach Bill,
Yeah.
they opened up the playbook. You
did.
start
What
seeing
was the
play
score at the beginning of
action.
the fourth? Because I think the final was 26-13 or
It was
26-7.
close. It was. I don't remember. Don't
It-
quote me on that. But it wasn't. It was. I think it was a two score game.
It was 13-13,
Yeah, I think it was-
and
yeah.
then it went 19-13.
Right, you're right.
It was the last couple seconds,
Right.
at the last minute, got the second score.
Right.
So it was anyone's game with
right.
6
You're right.
minutes left
Right.
in the fourth quarter. It was still, if CD would have came back and scored, it could have changed the dynamics. But there was a big stop by SeaTac, and then when they got the ball, Papa broke and scored. He put the game kind of out of the way with only like 3-4 minutes left in the
Right.
game.
Yeah.
So it was a heck of a game, man.
And you're right. SeaTac did open it up, which I think kind of surprised CD's defense. They ran a play action fake. And
Really?
ran their tight end on an out, and they were able to score on that.
Wow.
And I think it kind of caught because
I don't know if I saw that from him.
because all game it was ground and pound.
And they were
Yeah.
stepping,
You know what I
CD
mean?
was stepping
and
up.
they were stepping into that gap, man, to that hole, man, trying to meet Papa there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it kind of that one was one of the plays that they weren't anticipating because they really hadn't seen it.
Yeah,
You
I know.
what
I
mean?
haven't
Yeah.
seen him run play action all
I seen
year.
him run it one other time this whole year, but that was it. You know what I mean? So that was a great call. You know what I mean on their behalf. So
Yeah.
So hats off to him, man. Great job.
And let's transition to that senior game in the Gray Conference Championship, which was Rainier Ravens defeated CD Panthers.
late game.
The late game.
Yeah.
And before we get into that game, I want to again give a special shout out to Uriah. I'm glad to hear that you're doing all right. He got injured. We thought he had a neck injury. They had to do some x-rays. I'm glad that he's healthy. And we were praying for you, man, praying for your family. So a special shout out to you. But that game, man, hey, CD came out hot.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I want to say, who scored first?
Oh my!
Was the Ravens and then
No,
CD? CD scored first. CD came out hot, man.
And
It was a game the first quarter.
a kid by the name of, I believe his name is Yamani?
Yamani Bradley.
Oh my God, man!
Him and Giselle.
Listen, when I tell you he had 4 interceptions in the first half, I'm not saying in the game. In the first half, this kid came out balling. He was. I'm gonna be honest. Between him and Giselle Jackson, they carried this team on their back.
Really?
They did a heck of a job.
4
in this
picks.
game.
What did he have? Wrong color jersey?
Hey man, I don't know what it was, but everything that went up, he went to go get it. You know what I mean? So they played their hearts out. That whole CD squad played their hearts out. You know, it was very cold. I mean, we're talking about 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's freezing out there. But Rainier was able to capitalize on a few plays. Shout out always to Kamarion Burgos. Always plays great. You know what I mean? Great athlete. They had a couple of guys, you know, on the defensive end, you know, that made great plays. You know, Donovan Lowe, my nephew Caleb Presley. I mean, they definitely showed up and showed out. You know,
well,
what I mean?
Samuel Burrows too. When he stepped in that second half, man, at quarterback. Hey,
he played his heart out in that game.
Really?
That was when you say I want you to go out and leave your heart on the field, 110%. He definitely did that in this game, and that he showed me a lot of resilience in this game. No matter what the elements were, him having to switch positions, he took it and he made the most of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was definitely another player in that game that did some great things on the field.
so let's go ahead and shift and talk about this Saturday. It's Premier Bowl, guys.
Premier Bowl.
So Chuck, we need you to get your Kenny Smith on. Go up there and identify what we got going on this week.
Not me. All right. So we got just a quick explanation. Teams on the top are visitors. Teams on the bottom are home. And how we decided that, because as you can see, we clearly have 1 seed versus 1 seed. But what we look at is overall record. So if you're the home team, that means you had the better record against your opponent here in this championship round. The only one where we had a tie is in the senior division, the Ravens and the Lancers, and Coach Curtis conceded and gave the Ravens home field advantage on that. So freshman, and thank you again, Coach Curtis, for making that easy on us. Freshman level, we got the Lancers, a 1 seed going up against the gray 1 seed, Rainier Ravens. And, you know, as we talked about this, that's going to be a great matchup. You got 2 undefeated teams here. Well, Ravens they got one tie. They got a tie.
The Lancers are
Lancers got one. They got one
loss.
Yeah. And then you got 5-star and Auburn in the sophomore division at 11 o'clock. And then at juniors, we've got 5-star and the Sharks. And at 3 o'clock, we got the Ravens and the Lancers.
That senior game, man, if you're following any of the threads in this region in Western Washington, that's a game that a lot of people want to see. People have been making their predictions since the season started. And I think, again, going back to what you said, Chuck, at the beginning of the season, the parity, and because the Ravens at that level for the last 3, 4, 5 years have been dominant, you know, in that senior division. And the Lancers were dominant in their own right last year in the league they came out of. You know, they just didn't win the big one. And so Curtis has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove, and he's ready to come out here and put it all out on the field. And I know that Coach DeAndre, Coach Sam, and the staff over there, they also keep a chip on their shoulder. So it's going to be a good game. You definitely want to get out there. Anybody that's predicting blowout, I think you're out your mind. I don't see blowout from either team per se.
I don't see a blowout on any of these levels.
No,
I honestly don't see. You got a junior matchup where, you know, C-Tech. I'd say they dominated that regular season.
Oh yeah,
game
definitely.
against 5-star.
Every phase.
So I'm expecting the 5-star to come back with something, bigger and better. And obviously, SeaTac's going to come back bigger and better.
Oh yeah.
So and that Lancer Raven game, I think these are all great matchups. Again, when we set out, and I don't even remember whose idea this was to split this into conferences, to be honest with you.
I'll take credit for that.
But I'm telling you, the whole premise behind this, we couldn't have asked for a better outcome in regards to the conferences. The regular season meant a ton down the stretch, because that's what I was praying. I just wanted the games at the end to mean something in the regular season, and then they ended up having 5 shootouts at the end of the season. So this parity, man, we asked for it and we got it like tenfold. And I love the fact that we've got a great mixture of new Northwest Premier franchises and incumbent Northwest Premier franchises, and it's just a great mix. And I'm looking forward to some great battles on Saturday.
Yeah, I think for me, starting with that freshman game, I think that that's going to be a heck of a matchup.
Yep.
I think on both sides you have so many athletic kids, and I got to give a shout out to the coach's son. Can't remember his last name. His name is Carter. I must have said his name 10 to 15 times in that game. I mean, at defensive end, he makes plays. You know what I mean? He's a playmaker. That's exactly what he does. And I think with the offense that the Ravens have, it's going to be real interesting just to see how that plays out, because they're both sound on both sides, but they both have playmakers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's going to be, I think it's really going to come down to whatever game plan that both of these coaches come with the babies, which is crazy, but it's doable. You know what I mean? If they can execute on what they see and tell them exactly what they're supposed to do, I think that game is going to – that's one of the championship games, honestly, I could see going into overtime.
And they never played each other.
Right.
So this is going to be a
Right.
really good game.
Right.
And what I'm excited about, oftentimes people talk about the Ravens' freshman offense, but really their defense
Oh, yeah.
is stingy.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And you got some players all over the field, from Von Shea, Lil Burke, LJ. These guys, they get after it,
They do.
man.
They do.
And the same thing, like you said with the Lancers, like you said, Carter and Dua.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been saying from the beginning of the season, they look like they got 3 track stars
Yeah.
on that team
Yeah.
that can get out of there. So I think that's going to be a great game. You want to be there early.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think every game all day long is going to be an intense game.
Definitely.
So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah,
and there's a lot on the line for a couple of these teams too, because in the junior division and the senior division, this is an AYF championship tournament qualifier.
Yep.
The winner
Automatic bid.
of the junior game and the senior game automatically gets the bid,
For the Northwest.
from the Northwest region and the Mountain West region to go to Orlando, Florida, Kissimmee, Florida, and play for the national championship. So, and that's going to take place December 2nd through December 8th. So there's a lot on the line at this game, at this level too.
Yeah.
So not only winning it here for Northwest Premier, they'll become our Northwest Premier champions.
Representatives.
They'll also be the representatives out of the Mountain Northwest region to go down to Orlando and have a full week experience from teams all over the country. You hear what I'm saying? You got Chandler Bears, you got IE Ducks, you got Orange County, you got Central Virginia Hurricanes, you have the Napier Patriots. You got teams from
Maryland
the
Seahawks.
top team, Maryland Seahawks. You got teams from all over the country that are nationally ranked, nationally recognized. They're going to all be there, and we're in the top bracket. We're Division I Unlimited. We're not playing Division II.
All-American.
Right.
We're playing in the All-American, top of the line, cream of the crop brackets.
Revenue and
And so
13.
we want our kids to get that exposure, to get showcased. So this is an opportunity for them to have that based on who comes out of this. So we're looking forward to you guys, all you coaches, get them ready. Film night. Don't just play. I hope you're studying film.
Right.
So get prepared.
Right.
You're getting some schemes together. I hope you got that reserve playbook, them 2-3 plays that you didn't run all year, that you've been holding back. Now's the time. Now's the time to unleash it all. So Yeah, guys, I'm excited. We're going to wrap this week up with a championship. We'll be handing out these big trophies. What are these trophies, man? About 4 feet, 4.5 feet?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so.
We're going to be handing these big old trophies out to our champions. These are the granddaddies.
Yeah.
We gave y'all the Papas last week for the
Right.
conference champ, but these are the granddaddy trophies.
Right.
So come on out and get ready for that. And we'll segue. Cheer competition is going to be going on next weekend during
Busy
All-Star
weekend.
Weekend.
Busy
So the following weekend, not this weekend, the following
18th.
weekend of the 18th. All-Star, we do have some reserve spots that came available. We're going to be talking to presidents and ADs to let you know, specifically in the Green Conference, we had a few of those spots become available. So we will contact your coaches. Do not contact us. We will reach out to the team presidents and they can begin to work through the details on that. And a special shout out to all you conference champion head coaches. Congratulations on becoming an all-star head coach. You can select your staff. Just want to be clear, there's 5 on the coaching staff that are paid for, okay? The league rule is up to 8 on the sideline, but 5 that are covered. That means you got 5 coaches, including the head coach, that can attend the banquet for free, the breakfast for free, all the workshops are free anyway. But if you want to bring a couple more, 3 coaches maybe, in addition to that, to be on the practice field and to be on the sideline with you, you can do that. So go ahead and get us your roster, though. And they have to be certified coaches.
Yeah.
You can't go grab people that aren't certified. So make sure they're coaches that are within the league that's been
Badged up.
certified and they got their badges so that we can get them on the field with you guys. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been a heck of a season.
It has been
You know, I think one of the most competitive
Yeah.
seasons, competitive leagues
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
in the Northwest for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and we're ready to just continue to mash on the gas,
Keep
man, and
pressing,
press
man.
forward.
Yeah.
And we got other stuff coming. We
Yeah.
got a 7-on-7, man, that
Yeah.
we're going to bring in special guests probably the next week,
Yeah.
you know, to talk about that's going to continue to enhance our players. We know we got kids that are playing basketball and other things, but this will work even for some of them.
Yep.
And then we got training.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Parents, even if your kids aren't playing in the All-Star game, you want to be at All-Star Weekend on Saturday for the workshops. It is free.
Other
It will-
clubs come out too.
Yeah, it don't have to be in our
I don't
league.
care what league you're from. Come. We want everybody. We want to pack this thing out. We know we're going to pack it out Friday night, but we'd love to pack this hotel out Saturday as well for our workshops. Break out all the new, what's coming new and latest and greatest in training, 7-on-7. There's going to be a lot of great information there for you, your child, your family, educationally and athletically. So please come down and join us.
You want to get there to get the special discount rate that we're going to be offering on some amazing packages. We got some things set up. We like the youth sports Costco,
Right.
Sam's Club. We got special
Combine
discount
both.
wholesale rates
Yeah.
that we're bringing it all together. And day one, the D1 is going to be officially getting launched, so you guys can see the full packages on just walking with your student athlete. Come on out, you guys, and just have a blast together. Let's continue to build our kids up. So
Friday night bingo.
Friday Night Bingo,
Friday
fundraiser to help us offset some of the costs for our teams to get to AYF and some of the kids who are going to be playing FBU. So come on out for that, as well as for the CD Panthers sophomore team that'll be going down to Florida. So
I got one more shout out before we get out of here, and that's to our cheerleaders.
yes,
You young ladies have been out there in the cold,
they need to go to Florida next
the
year.
rain, whatever is going on, and you guys have been doing a fantastic job this year. Please keep up the good work. We have a lot of things that are going to be in store for you ladies too coming down the pipeline.
Yes,
so
we do.
please stay tuned. But we definitely appreciate you out there rooting on your boys as they play. You're doing a fabulous job. Cheerleading coaches doing a fabulous job with keeping these ladies entertained, putting things together for them. So we appreciate you as well.
Routine time now.
Yeah.
Y'all in there sweating and working it out,
Yeah.
stunting, all that stuff. So we're looking forward to it for next weekend. Families, come out and support them. We love you guys. God bless you. Again, my name is Clarence Presley. This is Deshaun Presley, Charles Burnham. On behalf of Premier Youth Sports and Northwest Premier Junior Football and Cheer, we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.